end, we do know what the bans are opening up.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a BTR, you're not opening fanning the King Kong,
No.
right? It's-
No way.
It's a
Not
death
to the
sentence.
not to the beast.
I mean, Onyx Philippines themselves did ban out Granger, so it is
Always
still
on the way.
digging into Emon's hero
Your
pool.
team is picking.
Bigatron Alpha kind of switching things up a little bit. They ban out the Matilda, so it still opens up the Moscow for Onyx Philippines.
That's right. Pick the Moskov and then it's over. Like, what do you do next? You still have the Suyo Alpha trade.
That too, you're probably going to force
Where
Bigatron
there is
Alpha
light,
to
Oh,
pick
well,
the
he-
Marksman. They thought about Loyi. I mean, why
I remember
not?
Loyi was second most picked and banned in the charts. If you're taking a look at the statistics,
Yeah.
Contest
so
rate.
definitely highly contested in any matches. And in the hands of Onyx Philippines, though, Super Friends, Loyi himself,
That's right.
he is her.
So does Bigatron Alpha pick the Moskov now? They go Moskov, and then, you know,
Yeah. and
Bob's
that-
your uncle.
If you want Amon to have an easier lane, just get open up your goat lane first. Let Kiara get that first pick, try to counter pick that. But then again, come to think of it, it's very difficult because Onyx Philippines playing mind games onto BTR.
It's also
If you do that, then like the entire team synergy will like collapse.
It's also like where does the
Chose
counter
me
pick
to
kind of come
vanquish
from,
the
right?
shadows
If you
plague
wait
this world.
and let's say Moscow
Your
goes
team
over,
is picking.
what's the answer? Are we still looking at Bruno third for BTR? I think their hands are a bit tied.
All right, you know what? Eman plays a mean Beatrix too. Looking
That, yeah,
back.
that too, yeah.
That's right. So it's not like he can't play it. But the pressure is on him, so I agree. Something tells me they might actually just do that again and protect him by allowing Keller to pick first.
I would say it is slightly, when we talk about the soft engages in game one, now they have the Cho on their side. It definitely has a lot more
Fight.
avenue, a lot more
Fight for
agency.
the ultimate
Which
aim.
is a wrong that we need to right. Earlier, Brusco was doing so much. Besides Kirk's auto stun, the fact that Brusco was checking bushes and punishing anyone who dived in a little too deep with a nice kick into Onyx PH.
Victory
Good steal
is in
away
sight.
from
Your team is picking.
Onyx PH, putting it into the hands of maybe Light, maybe Luke in the XP. There it is. There's the Moskov.
Moskov getting picked up by Kiara, and it does look like Brusco is going with the Hilda as well. So Bigatron's jungle will not be safe from minute one unless, you know, the Hilda goes up to the EXP side, which I think might be the most possible outcome.
Yeah, 9 out of 10 times I'd prefer that to be the
Oh,
case.
Sicilian! We talked about this yesterday too. It's
Yep.
always that Sicilian getting picked up, the Xaviers. We see the resurgence of these two heroes.
Moreno is a Sicilian specialist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For years now. I think in the hands of this Sicilian specifically, on this very stage, he has taken down a couple of big-ticket Filipino teams.
Especially when you get to that critical mass, right? Like, the current hero picks that Onyx PH has, just in range to get hit by Cecilia's abilities. So in this case, I think Bigatron Alpha, because you have the presence of the Cho, there is this front to back, right? You're not fully committing like game one.
In the early game though, Sicilian falls off a little bit more because you have to land the Sanguine Claws to be able to set up for your team.
You have a dead zone.
You have a dead
You're
zone, yeah.
literally
You have
in
a
front
dead
of you.
zone.
I can't touch you.
Yeah. But then again, will Bigatron Alpha, the question in my head is, will it be enough time for Bigatron Alpha to scale up to it towards the late game for Moreno to deal as much as he can with that Sicilian? That's the question.
You'll probably be looking at Luke's hero, right? Like, we know he has some pretty interesting approaches. We've seen the Masha, we've seen the Akai,
Time to
the
drop
Glue
the
Joy.
speed
ban a
of the
second time. I mean, the
cloud
CC is still up on the table, where we haven't really talked about that.
Yep. So we don't know because both XP laners are possibly still in the air. What's left through in the jungle? They banned a couple of King Kong picks here in the Hayabusa and the Joy. The
Alpha is still there.
Oh, actually, I think for Onyx Philippines,
Alpha in the front.
Lucas works very well for them.
I mean, Lucas
Jump-
XP.
Lucas XP, yeah.
That's assuming the Hilda goes to the Rome,
Assuming that Hilda
Yeah.
goes to the Rome.
which is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from the Alpha, we also have, what do you call it, the Bane jungle?
Nah, the
bit
Bane,
risky.
Bane has to be a very specific lineup. I don't see just yet if the Bane is possible, but I am open to it.
What about boys? Julian. I've seen him quite a bit resurging.
Julian has
Yeah, it has.
had a renaissance
now the
in,
only one
in the XP, in the jungle, in our ranked games. You guys know, if you've been playing a lot in the past couple of weeks, you would know.
Yeah.
There's a Phobius, so still locking down on XP is Onyx PH because they do have the Hilda already. What are you gonna do? Luke, what you got? What you got? Coach Etomax, what are you putting in the hands of Luke?
Speaking of,
You're still thinking, I think it's just, might be the CC or the
Yeah.
lead, might be.
think CC also, I mean, both are okay, right? Like,
Yeah.
both can sit in the bush, and if you are bringing in multiple members with a diversion, it's an easy current call for the CC. And especially, we talk about Moscow wanting to be mobile. If you can catch Kara and tie him up to any of his team members, that's an easy follow-up for the rest of BTR. And you make life easy for Moreno too.
Welcome to my imaginary world.
It's 1-1.
Your team is picking.
Slightly easier if Onyx Philippines decides to go a little bit more tanky. Definitely the weakness points will be able to be a little bit more easier to hit.
Yeah, you're giving Onyx PH a difficult time which hero to put into King Kong's hands.
Oh, Nolan. And the
Nolan
jaw
makes
head.
a comeback. That's a roam joy if I've ever seen one. This is the go signal. The fact that it was a 1-1, that gave Coach Etomas Goche, all right, you know, let's just blow up Eman. Let's just blow up Moreno.
Let's just go, let's go. Let's go full throttle.
Yeah, a lot of glass cannons for
That's
Big Alpha.
another dive comp, son!
Very, very heavy dive comp. You got the diversion play coming in from Onyx Philippines too. I'm excited for that one. How to play around the Hilda, the Jawhead, and the Loi E together is going to be mayhem. Because we know how Kelra is going to play. He doesn't have to join in the fights. He can just stay in the long lane, continue with that push.
They have -2 AoE.
Yeah.
It's literally
Yeah.
just Prince, and then everyone else smacks a dude at a time. So they have to choose their targets carefully. Luckily, they know how to do that. Luckily, they're a very mechanically gifted team. Bigatron Alpha
Ooh.
putting the Cho into Luke's hands and giving light at Tigreal. All right,
Yeah.
that's a team fighting lineup right
Yeah,
there.
when you
It
talk
is.
about a dive comp, right? If they want to be up close and personal, welcome to my vacuum. That's the domain of Tigreal. He loves it when you're in his face.
So effectively nullifying the dead zone for Sicilian. So, you know, like, if you're able to come up close, there's a punish involved.
Yeah. And the follow-up, like there's multiple layers that BTR has to follow up. So this could be kind of the adjustments that we were looking for. A lot more reliable engages, a lot more kind of stiff hand movement. So let's jump into game number 2, Gigantic Philippines and Bigatron Alpha Robots against Super Family, guys.
Introducing the heroes going into the Land of Dawn on behalf of Bigatron Alpha and Onyx Philippines. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is a match point for Onyx PH. BTR looking to recalibrate and re-engage with reinforcements because they are indeed programmed to win. Can they do that? Can they force game 3? We're about to find out. Churros, it's better now for BTR. They have a clear pathway to victory. Late game, it's Sicilian. Mid game, it's Eman.
Well, I will get to that point, but can I just say W production for insane graphics, showing up with the players and all that. But yeah, the Tigreal coming in with the Sicilian, the early game will have a lot of defensive power, especially for Bigatron Alpha. But we've seen Tigreal's getting a little bit too close because of the Jawhead coming in. Want to throw back the Tigreal, and if Tigreal doesn't have the implosion at level 4, it's going to be a little bit harder for them.
Oh, look at this. A push on the Brusco. Down to a third.
Ooh!
And the flicker spent already by the Bruiser. All right, so
Tiger jumps over the wall just in the nick of time.
sounds like a fable. Sounds like a little saying.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Brusco doesn't have that flicker in that early game, but Onyx Philippines playing to their strengths. They're going for the aggression, staying within the jungles. That's why you pick up that Hilda. That's why you pick up that Jawhead. Bigatron Alpha, like a sitting dog, dealing a lot of damage. Luke trying his best, but Light gets taken down first, as well as King Kong. No jungle for the side of Onyx Philippines. It's Bigatron Alpha. No roamer. It's a roamer for a jungle trade.
Tis but a oopski as Super Prince forced to retreat. Smart missiles from Brusco. I think Onyx PH were hoping that they would get that kill quicker. But one thing that you do not have as a Nolan, but that Suyo does, is a little more sustainability and iframes. Maybe King Kong at this point, he just did not have the burst that they were expecting in that early engagement. So they do lose that trade, a roamer for a jungler.
To add on to your point, Suyo's power spike is level 3. You get all skills unlocked. King Kong only has 2 skills. You've got a little bit less on your dashes as well because of the small little nerf that you have to understand. But now, the aggression coming through again, Kirk just being such an annoyance that Mosquito just whizzing by onto you, giving that with the power of rudeness. Forced to pop that retribution for Super Ken, buying a lot of time for King Kong to get in position wherever he wants to go.
And look at that. Bigatron Alpha's jungle isn't even really their own jungle. About half the time, Onyx PH is there threatening a steal. And now King Kong playing like that first blood didn't happen. He's just still running around, up a level, And this is what we're talking about. As soon as that Nolan hits level 4, the gloves are off, pal. Like, you better be sure that Kirk nor Brusco is waiting, and you're not even looking at the gold lane. Well, what is that like? Is the 1-1 okay? Just trying to bully 2 heroes? Because you can expect Light will be helping out. There he is, see?
Oh, here comes the Goon Squad.
3-man rotation.
We don't know. Bigatron Alpha still setting their sights up on Kirk, but there comes the engage on Super Ken. Gets in the fracture, gets taken out by Brusco. So that's a very nice, even kills over Onyx PH. But they're ramping up that tempo just a little bit more. How do you deal with that Hilda, Leo?
No, you just don't. I think it would be smart for Bigatron Alpha to just let Kirk do his thing, and let him get caught with his hands just twiddling. Because if you're not actively answering to the Hilda, you get to do your thing. And that's where Bigatron Alpha should use one of their main strengths, is being proactive, like just play to their own strengths.
Yeah, the reason I asked that is because Bigatron Alpha is being so reactive to this Hilda. They're always situated down on that EXP side, that bottom side, away from wherever the turtle is at any one point of time. And Onyx Philippines, they're manipulating Bigatron Alpha's movements. They're manipulating their rotations.
It's because Luke alone can't deal with Kirk. So what Kirk does is clear the wave and then check in somewhere else. Clear the wave, check in somewhere else. This is a free turtle for Onyx.
Yeah. Bigatron Alpha sitting duck, but then again, to your point earlier, you have the Sicilian, just sit until you have Sicilian's power spikes and then maybe try to make some plays. They're being a little bit more passive right here. And Onyx Philippines, they're on a ticking timer. If they don't get any kills, Bigatron Alpha has a chance to come back into the game when it comes late.
Oh,
Luke walks into a minefield, gets taken out by King Kong's fracture. And on the Philippines, that's 3-1 on the top side too. The implosion pulls back Brusco with the crossbow tank, dealing a lot of damage on the Super Friends, but not enough to take him down. But here comes the rest of the team coming in, pushing them back out of the way from that lane, giving a lot of space for Iman to get that farm, the extra farm that he so desperately needs. And Super Ken trying his best to farm up, picking up the scraps that Kirk is leaving behind.
Kirk sees 3, 4, make that 5. In comes the reinforcement. Super Prince blasting away. Both teams are gonna disperse here. I love what Eman was doing there. The fact that he knows that the other members of Onyx PH are elsewhere means he can put himself in a position where, all right, Kelra, get punished or get out of my face. And that's why they rotated elsewhere. Luke looking for a kick.
Oh, he misses that jump though. Luke able to run away from harm's way. Is Onyx Philippines. You're sitting in the jungle. The entire map is theirs, and they're switching their playstyles a little bit. A 4-1 composition with King Kong just securing that long lane.
Ano? Nani? Apa? All right, here's the thing. That was an amazing play. Let me just explain why, all right? It blew my mind. Conditioning. Onyx PH applied pressure up top. And then Bigatron said, you know what? They're not going to do that twice in a row. Kelra gets a push. Bottom lane, Kirk's not there anymore.
Whoa.
Luke, you could do something. They pushed that too. Onyx PH played the map.
It's beautiful how they are able to manipulate Bigatron Alpha's attention. And they're starting fights off, but they're not finishing it because the power of Onyx Philippines is that they have so much high damage that Bigatron Alpha, they touch, they need to go. They need to retreat because the longer they stay, Onyx Philippines is able to clear up that waves.
Exactly. The fact that there's a threat of activation just like this.
The throwback into the alley-oop. King Kong takes that one out. Moreno in the back line. It's not safe from Kirk as he just sits by watching them fall. Diversion play coming through.
Oh, that's 3 in the bush. Just making sure that there's no shenanigans afoot while King Kong takes the last turtle of the game. Churros?
The diversion just diverted us.
Churros.
King Kong taking up that turtle as Kelra cleared up that wave down to the T2 bot side.
What's scarier, the actual damage or the threat of it? Because I think Bigatron is more afraid of the engagement, which is correct to do because they're all implosion by Light.
The pushback knocking off, pulling back 2, but it's not enough. On the Philippines, they're just eating every single one of the damage. The Bigatron Alpha is getting into them. The SOD lands, but it does not matter. Kirk is way too far ahead.
Oh, Moreno! I take it back. Both are just as threatening. Both are just as scary. The actual damage and the thought of what it might do. Onyx PH across the board taking wins.
Leo, it's 25k gold over Bigatron's 18k. That is 2 BODs, 2 massive BODs.
That's right, a
to
total
put in
of
perspective,
8
but push back
bags.
onto Iman. As Luke tries his best to take down Kara, but Kara is dealing too much damage. Kirk trying to block off any possible entrance from Bigatron Alpha. As Onyx PH, they know they need to protect Kara. That is their goal, that is their diamond. As long as Kara is alive, Onyx Philippines is able to win any single fight, but every single time Bigatron tries to hit them, it's just a tickle. Oh, Luke! Man, the yin reaction is way too much. Kara finally goes down by the hands of light, but it's not enough. It's Onyx Philippines. They are trying to push this one through. 30 seconds until the Lord spawns up.
Well orchestrated. Onyx PH, Kelra going down, definitely an L, but he will be back in time for this Lord, which I was going to point out. You see this massive lead, right? Approaching 8K. This was a lordless push. That's how far Onyx can take it over the edge, while Bigatron Alpha are still reeling from that engaged cross map. All right, some good news, all right, for all the Bigot troopers out there. Moreno hasn't died. So maybe there is a hope. Maybe there is some cope left in this that Moreno can pop off. What currently is this young man on? He just has one item, dear Lord. He just picked up his COD.
Oh man, it's not enough. The fracture deals so much damage to Iman. Trying to kite away, but on that backside though, he sees Kirk. Kirk might be a little bit of a spot of bother right here. The Sanguine Claws pulls back Brusco, but it does not matter because Bigatron Alpha very, very passive. They will let Onyx Philippines take down this first Lord.
All right, clean take by Onyx PH. Kudos, flowers over to Kirk, who, by the way, is rocking the Sprint Hilda. You know who rocks a Sprint Hilda very often in the latter part of 2024? Luke. So this is a
That's true.
This is a
It's an
Hilda,
homage.
yeah, this is a Hilda arsenal that Luke is very familiar with, and he's here having to deal with it like, oh man, this is how annoying I was this whole time.
Actually, taking a look at the items, I noticed just Kirk got that Thunderbolt. That's the only defensive items, and then he's going straight for all damage. He's got the Blade of Heptases. He's fine. He's fine and dandy. He's got that damage through.
And the only reason why you do this as a Hilda at the
Oh,
highest
bottom
level
side,
of play
Amon's the
is...
spot of bother. Gets taken down. Solo kill by Kara. But here comes the Goon Squad up to the back line. They're taking it through. King Kong with the fracture. It does not matter. He takes another one down. 3 down for BTR.
As I was saying, you only really do that as a Hilda when you have the money to spare. And boy, do they have the money to spare. They're 11,000 gold up, pushing down bottom, and I think the call for Onyx is endable.
They're marching in with the king. They're going for the throne. They're pillaging everything, taking everything away from BTR. The dominance, the kings, the reigning champions have proven that they deserve that throne.
The Super Fam sweeps in dominant fashion, 2-0.